But sorry, welcome. But say hey, hello, Nick. How are you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, good.
Nick, are you okay?
I mean, this was set for 2 p.m., but no kidding.
I just didn't want to
Yeah,
rush. I don't want to rush people, and because I also
you had plenty of time to shave that mustache too. I don't know why you kept it. You know what I mean?
No, I'm keeping it as part of me. It's who I am.
was that for one of your shows?
It was for Skybeam, and then I kind of kept it. I
That
was
is
like,
good.
I was
love
like,
it.
all right, thanks. Yeah, I was like, I don't mind it. Denzel saw it last night. He didn't say anything.
Oh yeah, how was Othello?
It's great. It's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
good.
Problems with the
I
script?
no, I don't like saying this because I was very excited to see Jake Gyllenhaal as Iago because Iago's my favorite character. That's like my dream role, favorite role in any literature. Othello's my favorite play of all time. And I was super excited to see him. But he did the thing with which I remember when I worked on it in college. I didn't do the show. I just worked on a monologue and thing. And my director was like, "Don't always play him so angry. He's charming. He's a snake. He's like this, da 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 da." And I feel like the whole time he was just like angry. I'm doing this, and I was like, "Oh my guy, come on!" But
Yeah.
he still did great. He still did great. It was all great. It was well done. Denzel was incredible. It was still a great production. I loved it.
How old was who's Othello's wife's name or girlfriend's name? What?
Desdemona?
Yeah, how old was Desdemona in it?
I didn't know she didn't announce her age when she came on.
But Othello, because Denzel Washington's like 60,
He's 70.
70.
70
Yeah.
something. He's like 70 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. He's aged out of the part by a mile, but
Yeah.
he looks great and he's amazing. He's incredible. Like the guy can still do it. So I'm not gonna he's too old for the part, but he should be playing her father, but he's great. So,
Yeah. I always think of Mekhi Phifer my brain always just goes to like, oh yeah, they're in like college.
they're not in college though. They're
Yeah.
How did you snag tickets for that?
Hmm?
How
It
did
was my parents' Christmas gift. I was like,
okay.
get me this, yeah.
Really lovely.
No.
I tried to get tickets to Glengarry, Glen Ross at BAM.
Those are
$900 a piece.
$900.
My roommate was looking it up and she was like, if I go in June and I sit in the back, I can get $200 tickets or something.
I think if I really, really like worked at it.
It's
Picked up a side job and went into debt. I could go see that 2-hour play.
If I don't get married, then
Yeah, there you go.
Make it your wedding. You know what I mean?
It's like that reality. Did you ever see that reality show where I watched it with my ex in the pandemic, where they would go to people and they would be like, one person was a wedding like planner and the other person was like a realtor, and they were like, here's your budget. I could give you the wedding of your dreams, or I could give you the home of your dreams. And I'm always like, go with the home. Go with the home.
yeah.
And so many of them went with the wedding. And then so many episodes would end because it was shot right before the pandemic. Would be like, they couldn't have their wedding because of COVID. And I was like,
Oh man. Woof. Also,
So-
what a Hunger Games style, like
Yeah.
what a reality show for America that is.
yeah.
It's true. It's one. Pick one.
Pick
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, that's America.
So-
Pick one.
So Sarah, pick one. Glengarry and Ross wedding.
Ooh, it's Bill Burr. You
But
know
with
what
Bill Burr and Kieran Culkin.
I mean,
Michael McKean. They don't put him on the poster
Michael-
boards, but he's in it.
Michael McKean is like he's like the dreamiest dreamboat. Do you ever see like here's the thing? Oh, hi everybody, welcome to Sarah Nowak Activity. This is the show now. If you look at like old pictures of Michael McKean, like, and here's the thing is like there are very, very hot men who, when they do comedy, kind of the hotness kind of comes second,
Yeah.
and you forget. But
Mhm.
when you look at old pictures of Michael McKean,
Oh, okay.
my goodness.
All right. Good to know.
he's a very good actor.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's playing Shelley, I assume, right?
No. Bob Odenkirk's playing Shelley.
Oh, who's McKean playing?
Michael McKean is, I forgot his name. He's the guy that Bill Burr is going to yell at most of the time. They're the two guys that are like, he's the very like, oh, okay. Jeffrey Tambor played him in the movie.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's why he's not even on the billboards. It's like Kieran Culkin, Bob Odenkirk, and Bill Burr, and then it's like Michael McKean also happens to be in this. I'm like,
Yeah, I saw a like inside the rehearsal process or whatever, just like an interview with them, and even I think it was Bill Burr was like he like mentioned all the people except for Michael McKean, and Michael McKean was sitting right next to him, and Bob Odenkirk was like, "Hey, also, fucking Michael McKean."
Michael McKean is
Yeah, and it was
here.
like, oh
Yeah,
my god. The more we say
forgot him.
the more we say his last name, the more it feels like a nonsense word. You know,
Michael McKean.
Michael McKean. Hey, everybody, we're Michael McKean. Can we get a one-word suggestion?
And also, that movie that show now stars Oscar winner Kieran Culkin. So that's probably why the prices are even.
I haven't heard anything. Have you seen that movie? Has anybody seen that movie?
A Real Pain?
Yeah.
We went to go see it together.
Yeah, we did.
We held hands and everything.
It's true, yeah.
Was it good? Do you feel like it was?
I liked it. It's good.
They were clammy, and his palms got sweaty, but it was fine otherwise.
Yeah. But he had a good grip.
Yeah, you know.
No, the movie's good. It's good. It's really good. And Kieran Culkin does great. It is that thing which I think is justified when people were like, he kind of won an Oscar for playing himself, but he does a damn good job of playing himself. So
yeah,
and it's entertaining. So
I would have preferred to have seen it live on stage. Like at the end of it, I was like, "Oh, this is a play that you filmed."
Yeah.
But it was good. It was still very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you get a Real Pain popcorn bucket?
yeah, I got my popcorn bucket. I got my rope. It's just Kieran Culkin's face in his mouth. Like,
and it looks sad, but it also looks ready to have a good time, you know?
Okay, so also I'll just loop in everybody. This is Jake Keefe. He's joining us for this conversation and a quick hangout and for a podcast episode. Welcome, Jake. How are you?
Hello. Hey, thanks for having me for this hang in this podcast.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some movies. Let's talk about, this is the other thing too, as long as we're talking about popcorn buckets, is I saw, this is not horror, but I saw Mickey 17.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it was really fun. I mean, it doesn't live up to like Bong Joon-ho's like I love him so much. No, I love him so much. I love, Parasite and Host, and like I love, and I don't feel like it necessarily lived up to that, and I felt like it kind of went kind of long, but it was very funny. And Robert Pattinson's so good. He did actually a very incredible nuanced job with that character, because it starts off with him kind of talking like this, that kind of one of these kind of voices, and I was like,
Did you hear who he based it off of? Did you hear who he based his character off of? Steve Buscemi's character in Fargo.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 That's the right reaction.
Yeah, that's a good reaction.
Shit. I'm sitting here driving, doing all the driving, man. Whole fucking way from Brainerd, driving, just trying to chat, keep our spirits up, fight the boredom of the road. You can't say one fucking thing just in the way of conversation. Oh, fuck it. I don't have to talk either, man. See how you like it. Just total fucking silence. Two could play at that game, smart guy.
And I also saw Presence, which I thought was okay. I thought it was okay.
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting, Soderbergh, he made 2 movies back to back with that screenwriter, David Cope, and the other one comes out, I think, Friday.
Black Bag, yeah.
Black Bag, yeah. And Black Bag's actually getting a lot of really positive reviews.
Good.
I mean, I feel like Steven Soderbergh just goes, I'm going to work with you for like a year, and then just does whatever somebody wants to do for like a year. And just goes, great, as long as I can shoot it on an iPhone, that's all I care about.
That guy wrote Jurassic Park. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's been around forever. He's like a legacy screenwriter. Yeah, he's been making movies for over 30 years.
Yeah, but Presence was kind of...
Yeah, I like the concept of it. I just felt like the script felt a little bit like an episode of television. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know how to. It just felt like a smaller idea. Well,
it felt like they kept letting them improvise, and they didn't use the best parts. Like they were like kind of like, here's the script, but also go off script and like improvise and like be a family. And then they were like, ooh, that take was terrible. Let's use that. Like there was a couple times where I was like, this conversation is obviously improvised, and you are not like it's not even about being improvisers, just actors that can like go off the cuff. And I feel like some of them could, and some of them were like, I need a script, and it was very blatantly
Oh,
obvious.
what was the scene where when the brother is listening to an old Dominic Fike song and his friend comes in and is like, God, was the song like 5 years old? And the brother's just like, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like NC, yeah,
Yeah, that was basically the whole scene. He was like, all right,
C.
let's get drunk. It
Yeah.
was like, what? What are we doing?
It also is funny to have like this legacy screenwriter and then also just be like, well, say what you want.
That's why I was like,
say here.
yeah, that's why I was like, no, I think you guys should just stick to the script.
Yeah. Although also, I bet he probably doesn't write teens the best.
This is Ryan.
Hey.
Hey.
He's used to writing dinosaurs, so.
Oh yeah, the man can write a dinosaur. I mean, not a false note in the way that those T-Rexes growled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't play emotions; they played the character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Want to talk about coffee table?
Yeah, let's talk about coffee.
It made me so mad. I hated it.
Why did you hate it so much? I loved it.
It felt like do you want to like sum it up? Should we explain what it is?
I think in order to fully talk about it, we're just gonna have to like spoilers ahead. Spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen Coffee Table, don't here we go. We're gonna spoil it for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would I'll say quickly it's on Shudder maybe.
Yeah, it's on Shudder right now.
So the movie is about a couple who just had a baby and they buy a horrible, ugly coffee table. The husband is obsessed with this coffee table. They get it home, and as a result of it's this giant glass coffee table, and the baby, he holds the baby and the baby dies.
Beheads the baby.
Beheads the baby with a coffee table by accident. And it's about, and he hides it. So the whole movie is him hiding the death of the baby while his wife comes home and his family comes over for
brother-in-law,
and he's hiding the fact that he is decapitated.
The baby.
Yeah, and it's kind of real time, but not really real time.
And it's real wacky.
Yeah, it's a comedy. There were parts where they were like, "How about this, huh?" And I was not on board with it, so I was like, "Go fuck yourself." Like, I see what you're doing, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But it just felt like to me like like you don't see how he trips in the way that the baby gets decapitated, right? Like that shot is from a different room. You see him walk by with the baby and then he walks back and you don't see him anymore. You just see down the hallway and then you hear it happen. And I just was like, this doesn't...
And you see the little head roll by. Which
I didn't see that. Really?
Yeah, you see, you hear like a cacophony of like, and then you just see a little like red ball roll under that's the whole like Chekhov's gun, because at the end when she finds the head, because he thinks he's like, I've done it all. But you see that, and that's when I was like already like, I was like, ooh, I was laughing. I was like, this is gonna be my movie. Here we go.
It just like I didn't understand the physics of it. Like I just didn't understand. Like because then they show the glass and the top of it is broken, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like
it went up because the whole concept is this man's inability to finish things. Like it's his whole like. His wife is right. His wife's like, you got to get this. So he's like, oh, I'll fix it. I'll deal with it. This is my thing. And so the idea is that he tripped and it flipped and it like the head and it like sliced it. So the head rolled that way.
Because they're waiting for the screw for it to come. Because it was like wobbly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the glass was broke. When they showed it, part of the glass was broken. And so in my mind, I was like, well, did he break the glass and then the baby's head got cut off? Or did the baby's head, like the pressure of the head, like break the glass? Like, I just didn't understand it. And I got that it was like standing upright because he left it like that. But then I didn't understand how that worked. You know what I mean? I was
It
just
either
kind of like,
sliced, it either broke while it sliced its head, or it broke and then it sliced its head. But either way, it works. It's
yeah.
yeah.
I just was like, I don't understand how this happened. And then it never like I never understood why he had to go through that journey, right? Like if you're telling a tragedy, I want to understand why the character, like what's the character learning from this tragedy? Like how is this helping them grow and experience something? And this kind of
Well,
felt
that's
like
the point, though. That's the whole idea of it, is that he's not he's still himself, and it's the man dealing with, instead of going, "Oh my God, I've decapitated my son, my newborn. I need to call the cops. I need to call 911. I need to call my wife. I need to deal with this as a responsible adult." The journey is him going, what if I cover this up? What if I don't say anything? And it's that aspect of like, I don't know, have you ever done anything so terrible you're just like, I don't know how to deal with it. So what if I pretend it doesn't exist? It's a true human reaction. Instead of doing the right thing, he's doing like, what if I just pretend? What if I just pretend it doesn't exist and it's not there? And for me, that was more human than him just going, I guess I'll just call everybody and deal with it. Like, he's so, and then it just keeps blaring on him, and then his brother-in-law is like, we're having a baby, we're doing this. And then, like when he shows his brother-in-law what happens, he has the reaction of, you need to deal with this, is a real thing. And he still is like, no, no, no. And it's that whole like, if I just pretend it doesn't exist, then it's not there. And to me, that was more human than anything.
yeah, I just felt like he like the consequences and the stakes like never rate like at a certain point it was like, okay, here's the consequence of the thing that you've done, and then now let's just watch this person simmer for an hour and a half. And I was like, I don't care that he's simmering. Like, I don't really care about him. I don't really like his wife was always kind of like their relationship was always pretty shitty from the get-go. Like we don't see them happy. So I was like, I don't understand who I'm supposed to be rooting for, like what I'm supposed to want out of this film. Like it felt like it
I
was
do
just
not.
kind of like here's a really like messed up sad thing that has happened. Like Gene Hackman, right? Like everything that happened with Gene Hackman, like that's a really sad, awful story. I don't need to watch a movie about that. And that felt like this. Or like Bully. Did you ever see the movie Bully?
Mm-hmm.
Like movies like that, they just make movies where they're like, here's bad people doing a bad thing, or a bad thing
And
happens to
Bully's
somebody
based
in
on a
the
true story. That's the thing, is that I like watching the human condition. I like watching. I don't always need to watch a movie that's like, oh well, this is the story all wrapped up, and here's this character learning this thing. I sometimes want to watch what it's like to be human, what's real life, and to me. And I feel like the stakes were high. I feel like the stakes were constant. In fact, the stakes got higher and higher because the more he like drew it out, instead of just like, hey, your brother and his wife or girlfriend can't come over because we have to deal with this. Also, all of the other things that started happening, and then like the little girl coming over and like, saying like, drawing that whole thing. Like, I think the stakes did draw out, and it's not about like caring about them, because it's instantly I'm like, I don't know how I feel about you, but I know that like this is a terrible situation no matter who you are. And so I instantly was like, "Oh my God, this is terrible." I don't know, Sarah, what do you feel? You haven't said anything.
I think, yeah, sorry. I mean, I kind of agree with Jake where I felt like it was like, it's one of those things. It also annoys me when anything happens and people are like, well, why didn't they just do this? Why didn't they just do this? It's like we've had a lot of time where we're not in it, so we don't know what we would do in that situation. And I have definitely had those moments where I'm just like, I'll just close the door and maybe somebody else will kill that bug or whatever. But yeah, it also, it's one of those things where I was sort of hoping for like something deeper maybe. And it also, I wasn't expecting it to be funny. It's sort of like Funny Games too, where I know we also talked about other stuff where it's like there are people who like love that, and I just have too much. I just feel too bad about what's happening to sort of like understand it from like oh, this is like a study of of how people consume things, and it's
It's
like
a concept of violence in the culture. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I get too visceral with things.
I love funny games.
Yeah.
We just, I feel like I love all these things you guys hate.
You love twisted stuff. Well, like I want to talk about Good Time, right? Going back to Robert Pattinson. Have you seen that, Sarah? Can I spoil something?
Yeah.
So like that's a good movie where it's like here's this bad thing that I need to fix, and he continues to raise the stakes of here's the next bad thing I'm doing to cover this up. Here's the next bad thing I'm doing to cover this up. To the point where like when he's making out with that teenage girl, I remember watching the movie and being like, oh my god, like no, what are you fucking doing? And I hate everything that he's doing. But I understand why he's doing it to cover this up because the consequence with this, it was like your kid's dead. You're maybe going to jail for neglect or something like that. But like ultimately the movie ends with him killing himself and his wife killing herself, right? And so it's one of those things of like, all right, so the consequences, you're so sad you kill yourself. I know that from the first 30 seconds of
But the concept, I think the concept is if he would have addressed it earlier, there's a good chance that they wouldn't have killed themselves. I think to me, the idea is that if he would have been like a horrible thing has happened, she would have been upset, but they could have maybe been like, okay, let's hold on. Let's talk about this. Let's figure this out. This is a tragedy. Let's address this like adults and figure this out. Now, I don't know. Maybe she would have killed herself, but I think there's a more of a concept of like she wouldn't. But it's the fact that he draws this out and he doesn't know how to deal with it because the whole concept is like this guy who is not great at like dealing with things. He doesn't like, I need to tackle this issue right away. He's not a proper adult. And so when a tragedy so big like this happens, he doesn't deal with it the right way, and then it gets drawn out, and then her instinct, because of the way it all unravels, because the little girl comes in and is like, hey, he's having an affair with me, and the dog finds the head, she's just like, a visceral reaction, I kill myself. Instead of going, hey, let's put the kibosh on this, let's deal with this right here and there, they may have like survived it and like dealt with this terrible tragedy but still done it. And that's why I feel like the stakes do raise and the consequences are felt in the end.
I didn't feel like it was necessary. I also struggled a little bit with like the comedy part of it. Like I get when he's trying to get into the house and the furniture guy comes and with the screw and it's just taking forever to get into the house. That to me, I feel like they nailed it. I think in that part, that's when it was nailed. But everything else, I think I just felt too bad. I think that's my thing that I struggle with is that I just feel if I feel so bad for people or what happened in the situation or the future of the situation, then it's like really hard for me to kind of separate that. But why was there also everybody was so horny for this guy?
Yeah, everybody wanted to have sex with that dude.
Yeah, everybody wanted that guy.
His personality, you know what I mean? He had a winning personality.
He's a good time guy. He's a
he's fun. He's fun. I will say that about the movie. I definitely wanted to have sex with that guy.
Yeah, right? Wanted to fuck that guy.
That dude was a good time guy for sure.
He's a good time guy. He's a good time Charlie. Yeah, I find it fine. What I feel like I'm learning is you guys have a lot of empathy and I just don't.
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm like,
have you, Sarah, has Nick ever recommended or made you watch the movie Playground?
No.
Is it The Playground?
I think it's called Playground.
Nick once was like, you got to watch this movie. You got to watch this movie, dude. Like, you're going to love it. It is 2 hours of just like kids.
I don't love that movie.
When you recommended it.
That was a trick on you. That's because I watched the movie and then the way because the whole movie is just like, because I read about this movie Playground. I totally forgot about it. And everybody was like, oh my God, the last 15 minutes of this movie, the last 15 minutes of the movie. Oh my God, this movie. So I was like, I watched it one night and they're right. The last 15 minutes of the movie, you're like, what the fuck? And so as a trick to Jake, I was like, hey, watch this movie Playground. And he watched it and he was like, the fuck's wrong with you? And I was like, right? Isn't that, now you got to live with that. Hey, I didn't make you watch Megan is Missing because Megan is Missing also messed me up. I couldn't.
Well, I had heard of Megan is Missing. And then you were like, I saw this. And I was like, don't recommend it. I was like, I'm not watching that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is true. I think Nick doesn't have empathy. I think that's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I get it for if it's people in movies and you can separate yourself.
No,
that's
I don't in just in general either.
Playground's based on a real story.
Yeah, it's based on a real thing. Do you want us to spoil it for you?
Yeah,
You
I'm not
want us
gonna.
to tell
I
you?
mean, it's
You
bad.
don't watch it. No, don't watch it. Don't watch it. Because the whole movie, it's you follow three kids in what, Norway or
Norway?
something?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Norway.
something. And like you see one, and it's the girl, and she lives in a very like she's upper class. She lives very well. She's getting ready for like the last day of school. Then you see the one kid who's like middle class, and he's like getting ready for school, but is like one of his parents is like sick, and you see him like kind of be a little aggressive and like hit the person. And then you see the third kid who's like lower class and is like has to take care of his like siblings and is like, so then you see them at school, and then it's this thing of the upper class little girl has a crush on the middle class kid, and is like she takes him away after school and like is like, hey, I have a crush on you, and they pick on her, and I thought something was going to happen there, and it doesn't. And then it just is like, because the director, I read about it, she was saying how she wanted to, because it's based on a real story, and she wanted to like capture the idea of like sinister evil is the concept. I think the concept was like you see it in real time, like you see it like it's sometimes just ingrained in people, in kids and stuff. And you see these kids go to the mall, the two boys, and they just kind of like put around, and their store isn't open and their thing isn't, so they're bored. So they find this like little kid, like 4 years old, 5 years old, and they like take him, and they're like, follow us. And you follow, and then it shifts to like cameras of just like security cameras of them taking the kid, and nobody says anything because he kind of looks like he could be their little brother. And then you just follow them for the longest time, and you're just watching them go away farther and farther. And you even see like one guy stop and be like, because the kid's getting like upset, and the guy like talks to them, but they talk to him, and then he's like, oh, okay. So you get the idea of like they're just like, oh, it's our little brother, he's just being. So they take him real far off, and the little kid's upset, and the kid's like really really upset and crying, and they're by like a railroad, and they're just like really, and it's a far off shot, and the kid's just there like crying because he's like obviously like, I don't know what's going on, I'm upset. And they go and they just start like beating the shit out of the kid, and then one of them just gets a rock and bashes the kid's head in, and then they just take the body and put it on the railroad to make it look like it's an accident. But like at the end, it's like, this is based off a real thing, and then they were caught, and da 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 da. And it's just like it. But the whole rest of the movie is like this whole other thing, and then it's just like, here's this terrible thing.
Here's a little boy being beaten to death with rocks.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, and Nick loved it. Nick was like, I didn't love it. You got to see it.
I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I was very disturbed by it. I was disturbed by it, and I told Jake, I was like, watch this film because I need somebody else to talk to about it.
I think he said feel good movie of the year, I think is what Nick called it.
Yeah,
I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
He said Nick's picks.
I was like, have you ever seen a movie and you go, this movie gets me? And that's
Nick was like, I wish I could have seen this in IMAX.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, okay, bud.
With a bunch of people, and we can all laugh.
Yeah,
do you remember when
what's the popcorn bucket for this one?
Yeah, popcorn. Oh, that kid's head with a cinder block.
Yeah, just like open head.
Do you remember when we went to go see what's that horror movie about the possession? That it's like a disease.
The Possession. Oh, Evil Lurks.
Evil Lurks. Evil. Oh, yeah, Evil Lurks. There was a scene that's very like, and my visceral reaction was to laugh, and the audience was like. And I looked at Jake and I was like, I didn't mean to do that. He was like, yeah, I don't know why you did.
Yeah, a person was eating a child's brains out of their head, and he laughed. And the people next to us were like, what the fuck?
And
I was like,
you know when you nervous laugh, you know when you're like so shocked that you go like, you like kind of like, and I just laughed, and I looked at Jake and I was like, I didn't mean to do that. Like I didn't. And he was like, he looked at me, he's like, yeah, I don't know why you did that.
I think that's a fair rereaction to something like that, though.
Yeah.
Well, it was at first, but then he kept laughing like a jovial, like a Father Christmas. Like, oh,
let's see that again.
What day is it?
Bring her another boy to eat. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
And that's when people started being like, what is wrong?
What's this guy? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and where'd he get that popcorn bucket?
And it's the kid's head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
they made popcorn buckets for every movie, no matter what.
You should have had the Brutalist popcorn bucket. That was a good popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
It was just Adrian Brody passed out.
Yeah.
And you ate the popcorn from his butt.
It was just a popcorn full of lies. 'Cause that movie's not based on anything true. Have you heard more and more I hear about? And the people that it's based on were like all rich guys who in no way had nothing.
Yeah, that's what
nothing to do with concentration camps. A lot of people who were like fathered brutalism were actually like two dudes were like fascists.
Mhm.
So it's like it's all super like
so bullshit.
Wow.
and then one person was like the fact that at the end where they're like, yeah, he modeled this whole thing over the concentration camp was like that's such a slap in the face to so many people who went through that would never do that. And I was like, fuck this movie, fuck Adrian Brody. Like yeah.
Jesus.
Long
Yeah.
ass speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody get to see Antrim?
Oh, I didn't.
No.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm kind of nervous to watch it because
Why?
I believe in shit like that where I think I might die if I watch it. I was like, because I looked it up and they were like, yeah, it's a cursed movie. You watch it, you'll die. And I was like, I know that's just part of the marketing, but what if I watch it, I die?
Yeah.
What if you die?
There's another movie apparently that's another take on it that also has a concept of like it's a cursed movie, but I forgot what it was. I gotta look it up. Yeah, I'll tell you about it.
Curious to know. Well, now I don't want to say anything. I want to make sure that you see it so that it's. But I had a very good time.
You liked it? It's
Liked
good?
it?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you see it, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is a very serious thing. It's shot very like 70s. I have a lot of questions. Again, I don't want to say anything. I can't say anything because you guys haven't seen it. But I would suggest everybody how about I'll assign it to all of our listeners. You guys.
Yeah. And I'll watch it. I'll put myself on the line and I'll watch it.
You'll put your life on the line?
Yeah. Yeah.
See what happens. Yeah.
But it was really good. It's shot like it as if it's in the 70s, and it's very it's got a lot of like demony things which I like.
Nice.
Again, I
The
don't
concept is they're trying to get their dog from hell or something.
Yeah. So I can say if you know that much, I'll say that much. It's framed there's like a mockumentary. It's framed as a mockumentary, but then the actual movie is it's about two little kids who are like digging a hole in the forest to like get the soul of their dog back.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
Yeah, and it's just these two kids, and they do an amazing job, and I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I definitely enjoyed it. I don't want to talk it up too much, but I definitely enjoyed it.
All right.
Yeah, I do. I love me a good like 70s era horror film too. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was shot in 2018, but it was for the 70s. So, but it's got that vibe.
Yeah, that vibe. Yeah, like I recently rewatched Prince of Darkness.
That is my favorite movie of all time.
Oh my god, it's so good. But it's late. I think it's late 80s. It's like 87 or 88. 87. And it's one of those things of before I watched it, I was showing it to a friend, and I was like, yeah, this is one of the best movies of the 70s. And then we were watching, and I was like, oh, this is the 70s. Oh, this is like 18 years later.
Yeah.
But they have that vibe that just
it's got that 80s vibe. It's got that 80s vibe so well. It captured it so well because it was shot at that time. It was just like them going, this is what we all look like and are. Mm-hmm. But that's why those 80s movies just hit so well.
Yeah, and John Carpenter, that man knows how to play a synthesizer. You know what I mean?
Knows how to play synthesizer. That's all he does now. He just gets high and plays video games and synthesizes.
Does he stream? Does he have a Twitch?
I don't. He might actually. He's like super into video games. He's just like, I just get high and play video games now, and then every now and then I'll do a concert. But he's like, I don't want to direct right now. He's
sounds exhausting.
No, he's like, I'm old. I don't want to do this shit.
Well, what was his the Ward? Was that his last one?
Yeah, his last one was the one with Amber Heard. Yeah, that weird one. That was like,
Yeah, that was weird. He did a bunch of them. Him and Wes Craven both like towards the end of the things they were doing. I was just like, all right, you can go to bed. You don't need to.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, it's fine. You've got a legacy. You're good. Yeah,
you did it, bud.
But if John Carpenter, what?
I don't have to love every one of his movies. Yeah. He's allowed some stinkers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but if John Carpenter was like, "Hey, I'm directing a new movie," I would be like there with my ticket and my popcorn bucket.
That's just John Carpenter.
Yeah, just with his mouth open.
I would watch it. I would eat popcorn out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just a synthesizer.
But you have your monkey one, right, Nick? You got the monkey. popcorn bucket. That was one where I was like, I think I would spend $40 on this.
That is good.
What's funny to me is like you won't watch a cursed movie, but you'll buy a popcorn bucket.
Monkey.
I also have the Talk to Me hand.
Ugh.
Don't you have the Necronomicon too?
Yeah, I have the Necronomicon. I have a bunch of cursed items.
If it's merch, he'll do it. Oh, have you guys ever heard of the the Warrens, the Conjuring?
Mm-hmm.
So they have a museum in Connecticut, or the wife does. The husband I think is dead now.
Yeah, the husband's dead.
Yeah. So their house, like you can go and tour their house. Ugh, that is creepy.
It's a pipe.
Like you can smoke tobacco and tobacco products.
Tobacco products. You put it right there, and then this is a little thing. I haven't used it yet, but
you should right now, live on the podcast, on the pod. Do it.
Good.
That's a horror movie. That's what that is. But yeah, you can go to the Warrens' house, and you can go in their room of cursed and cleansed items and walk around.
That's in Connecticut, you said?
Yeah.
And they have the real Annabelle doll, which is just like a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
Would you guys ever do it? Would you ever go to the Warrens and walk around? I mean, Sarah, maybe for your honeymoon?
Mm-hmm.
Or the wedding?
Or wedding, yeah. I'll have Annabelle officiate. I don't know that I've heard like mixed things about Edna Lane Warren, that they're like some people are just like, oh, they're very legit, and other people are I've heard just things that that they kind of spice it up a little bit, that they kind of make up some of it. So I don't know, but I'd go and look at stuff. Hell yeah, if it's like a fun museum.
My Zach Baggins, the guy who's the douchey ghost guy. He's got a whole place in Vegas that has all like stuff like that, like the Warrens. And my brother's been to it, and he's told me about it. And they have, because he produced that movie, I forgot what it's called, but it's about where those kids were being possessed. I started watching it, but my girlfriend at the time was like, this is just people with this is just mental health issues, and they're exploiting them. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it's demons. And she was like, I don't want to watch this. I was like, that's fair. But he took their basement and he brought it, and he has the basement there, and they have a Dybbuk box, those Dybbuk,
yeah,
and they have all that stuff, and there's room, I think the Dybbuk is the one where you can go in, or it might be that basement where those kids were possessed. It's one of the rooms where you can go in, but the tour guide was like, I don't even go in here, but if you want to. And my sister-in-law didn't go, but my brother went in, and he was like, it was very creepy. And you saw one of the things. The one guy went in there and messed around with it, and he was cursed. I don't know. But he went to that thing, and he said it was really cool, but also really scary. But I was like, I would go to those things. I would go check them out.
I would just be worried I'd go with somebody like Nick, and he'd be like, oops, and shove me into Annabelle or something, and be like, now you're cursed.
Don't touch the dolls.
Yeah.
Don't touch the doll. I would do it.
You got a Dybbuk on you for eternity.
I would do that. I would give it to Jake.
No vaccines.
Again, no vaccines.
There's a museum of vampire killers in. I think it's just it's drivable to Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
That I would love to see. Vampires are not my thing, but I do love the physical objects. They have all the the little vampire killer kits.
So what is it? Is it?
What's that?
Is that a vampire killer kit?
My ex-girlfriend got this for me. It comes with a little holy Bible, matches with a lighter, a little mirror, a little cross, a little stake, and it has garlic and essence, little essence and stuff like that. It's a little.
Is the mirror to just double check, just to be like
double check?
No, okay, yeah.
Not a vampire. Yeah. She got it off of Etsy.
The ultimate one-stop shop.
I have my
vampire hunters.
I have my little David from the Lost Boys in it.
Nice.
I didn't know that there was one. There was because when I went to Paris, I found out too late that there's a vampire museum, and I wanted to go to it, but it was like out of the way, and it would take all this planning, and you have to like call ahead, and it's like you can't just like show up. It's very very particular, and I was like, we won't be able to figure this out. But I didn't know there's one in Pennsylvania because I would 100% go because I love vampires.
Yeah, I'll look it up. And I'll send it to you. Yeah, that's. I hate when you travel and you get too tired to do stuff, and then you're like, I'll just do that when I come back.
Yeah, we'll figure that out for another time. I went to the catacombs. I got to go to the catacombs. Which is
yeah. I would love to see the catacombs.
That was amazing. Yeah.
When I was in London, I got really close to what's the big jail, the London Tower or something.
Oh yeah.
The old jail.
Yeah.
Something I can't remember. But we were like there, and we were so tired. We were just like, you know what? I'll come back to London.
I did the Jack the Ripper tour in London, which that was like another like the two big things was like Jack the Ripper tour London and then catacombs in Paris, and that was really cool. Really messed up as you really find.
Yeah,
I've read about it. I've heard all the stuff because I've always like studied it, but like when you really like our tour guide was incredible, and he was like very jovial, but he was like, "This is upsetting, so get ready." And you're like, "Oh yeah."
You really love people.
Did you tip him?
Yeah.
Nice.
What's the tip tour guides?
Usually you should, yeah. Usually you should, yeah.
Yeah.
I did a ghost tour in like Edinburgh like a million years ago. I don't think we tipped, but they also just are very weird about tipping in Europe.
Yeah.
That's true, but he kind of was like, if you want to, and we were like, yeah, let's do this. Yeah.
Well, because I think that's the scariest thing is not tipping.
Not tipping.
That's a real scary behavior.
When I went to New Orleans, I did a vampire and a ghost tour, which the vampire tour was incredible. And we tipped our tour guide.
Nice.
She was incredible. She was amazing. The vampire tour guide was incredible.
So these things, you guys are talking a lot about vampire museums and vampire tours and stuff like that. Is there, they got like some proof? Like they got some proof of some vampires? Because I'm a little skeptical about vampires. You know what I mean? Zombies for sure. I believe in zombies from the Haitian tradition.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know about vampires.
I believe in vampires. I think vampires are real.
Okay. What has been the most telling piece of evidence you guys have seen that has made you go like, yeah, vampires, 100%?
Well, I mean, I know that I know like it's based on it's based on something that is real, I think.
Well, Vlad is also the original.
But he was more of a cannibal than anything else, right? Mm-hmm. He wasn't like ageless or anything. He just was a dude who would kill and then eat his enemies.
Yeah, but then it's spun out of like thing of like, but he was Dracula. He was the original. Yeah, all that stuff.
But there's more like there's like a more lore about how like there was a I'm gonna get it all wrong, but there was like not the Black Plague, but there was like a big disease in. I want to say that this was happening in America too, where it was like people kept dying, and this like family died, and like all the children of the family were like dying, and they finally got down to the last kid, and so to keep that kid alive, they like unearthed the other kids and like took the hearts out and like burned it and like fed it to the child, and she survived.
Oh man!
Concept of like sucking blood kind of came from that.
Well, and there's like the whole blood, like all like giving people blood to survive, and a lot of the concept also comes from like where they'd be like, I think this body did it, so they upheave the body, and like when you die, your hair and your nails still grow. So they'd be like, see, they're still like they're changing, so they're obviously, and it was just science, like just like your nails and your hair still grow even after you're dead, like
yeah. So you guys don't believe, though. Do you believe in the idea of like hot leather-clad 20-somethings that are eternal 20-somethings that are out there sucking blood all the time?
Let me tell you this story real quick. Two things. When I went to New Orleans has a very big vampire culture there. There are people that consider themselves vampires, and they're just kind of like goth kids. But like there was... because Steve also was the one that was like, go to this one bar. It's called it's the Blacksmith or something. It's considered it has a plate that says the oldest bar in America, and it's not. It's like if you look it up, it's not. It just has that because it looks really old. And when you do these tours, you stop there. They go, okay, we're gonna take a break. You can go in there and get a drink or use the bathroom or get food. And on both tours, it's because it's the same company. you go in there, and there's a lot of people that go there and pretend to be vampires. But two stories. One was the story that the tour guide told us, because there's a very famous church in the French Quarter, and there's an entrance, and then they have these like windows that are boarded up, and they're like nailed shut. And the tour guide was like, they believe that the Catholic Church holds things in there. That's why it's boarded up. There's creatures of the night. And, if you ever see it open, it'll get you. And she tells a story, though, that she one time was, whether this is true or not, I don't know, but that she had a Marine or a guy who was in the Army on the tour. And he was like, I will say, I was part of the evac team when Katrina happened. And we went in there, and my officer was like, don't look around. Don't just make sure if there's anything living and get out. Like, don't, like, they were like, we can't say anything more. Like, he was very weird about it. And like, apparently to him, it was like, just look for human bodies and get out. And like this whole thing. And then the other thing that happened to us was me and my girlfriend at the time, we went into this store, and there was this older couple, and it was like a witchy like store, all kind of, in the French Quarter. And there's this older couple, and they're perusing, and then they leave. And then the person that was working there, after they leave, she looks at us and she goes, hey, do you guys want to go to a party? And we were like, what? And she's like, yeah, it's happening at this place. And we took the information down and we looked it up. And it was this place that used to be like a BDSM place, but now apparently it wasn't anymore. It was more like just a place to party. But it still was like kind of, I don't know. We were like, we were both debating. We didn't go, but we were like, what? Are we going to get killed or what's going to happen? So we didn't go. We should have. I guess we should have, but I don't know. So.
Hey, you're still here to tell the tale, so I guess maybe better that you didn't.
Yeah. So take that as you will.
I did. There was one time where I was at this party, and it was similar. It was like one of those underground weird like New York parties, right? So I'm at this party, and then somebody starts counting down, and then all the fire hydrants, like sprinkler systems, start raining blood, and then Wesley Snipes
Stop.
And he's like, it's blaze time.
Stop.
And he starts blazing it up.
I immediately was like, he's recounting the story.
He plays it like crazy.
I don't like this.
So, but I don't think it was vampires. I think it was just Wesley Snipes. And
I'm pretty sure that party happened in LA, not New York, but whatever.
Hey, tomato, you know what I mean?
I don't like this. My stories were true.
I struggle a lot with like believing that's the only. I'll just wrap with saying this, that like there are so many things that I do, but like I believe in like UFOs and stuff, and like ghosts. I'm very into ghosts, and I love ghost stories. But there's so much like bullshit out there, and so much stuff that people fake, where they're just like, oh, look, here's the door opened. Oh no, and then it's a fake, and it's like obviously fake, and it's like more fake than not. That like it's hard for me to get that boner for things, you know what I mean?
No,
that belief boner.
But I want to believe.
I want to believe.
I want to see stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's vampires out there. You hear a lot of stories. I think they're more hidden, but I think it's possible. I don't think it's completely. I don't think it's the traditional vampire that the media has led us to believe. I don't think that's like what it is. I don't think, like you said, it's not leather clad, like beautiful looking, like I don't think that's the concept of it. No.
Yeah, I think it's all stuff that we can't possibly fathom, like frog people and like weird shit. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, oh yeah, that thing, cool. All right, well, on to the next, I guess. What is the angels? Angels are actually just like thousands of eyeballs or something like that. It's just like we can't really comprehend that.
Yeah, I think.
Has it really been an hour? Damn, jeez.
Wow. We talked so much about so many things. We hardly talked about table. We talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But we all agreed. We all loved the coffee table.
Mm-hmm. And that Nick lacks empathy.
I don't care about people's feelings.
Something. All right. Well, thanks so much. And again, thanks so much to Jake for sitting in with us and talking to us about movies. Jake, do you have anything to plug or anything you want to tell people about?
Yeah, check out. I do an improv show the third Thursday of every month at the People's Improv Theater at 9:15 called The Series Finale. We get some really fun guests. We've had DC Pearson in the past from Winter Soldier and Community. We have Matt Cox, the writer of Puffs. He comes and plays a lot. So it's the third Thursday of every month at 9:15 at the People's Improv Theater in New York City. Oh, also I have a movie coming out. It's on iTunes and Amazon. It's called Meet Cute in Manhattan. It's a rom-com. It drops March 28th. Yeah. Oh yeah,
I'm in a movie you shot. What?
Yeah, my premiere is. I gotta miss that show we're supposed to do in 2 weeks because I have our premiere at the Angelica, which is dope.
Was this the thing that you shot where they had the whole screen was like you played Super Mario Smash Brothers or something?
Yeah, we shot on one of those giant like Omni screens. And it was dope. During lunch, somebody brought in their Switch and we played Super Smash Brothers on a a room-sized wall. And it was dope. Yeah, March 28th on iTunes and Amazon. Meet Cute in Manhattan. Check it out. It has nothing to do with horror. It is the opposite of horror. And maybe true love is the scariest thing of all.
Yeah.
That's valid.
Yeah, it is. All right. What about you, Nick? Anything to plug?
Nothing's going on in my life. There's not a thing going on in my life.
Nice.
I have nothing. And that's why I have no empathy. No, I'll be in the next series finale. So yeah, I'll be doing that show.
I did that once. Jake, do you remember when I did that?
Yeah, we did that Succession style show.
Yeah, and I went the next day. I went camping with some guy who I'm about to marry.
Oh,
we went camping on like our sixth date.
Nice.
On the sixth date, you went camping?
Yeah, I mean, it was just only we had only known each other, I think, 3 months at that point. We're like, let's just go camping.
Okay, that's not crazy. Knowing each other for 3 months. I mean, that's bold. That is a little bit bold, but I think it's a testament to like it makes sense. You all are engaged, so it makes sense. Okay. But I don't. Is he a big camp? Are you and he big campers? Are you?
No, we stayed one night and then we wrapped it up.
Oh, you were like, this is enough. See, because that's the thing is, I'm not a big.
Really cold.
I camped when I was little. I did a little bit of camping with my family when I was little, but I don't know how to to take a date and go be like, let's do this. I would be like, I'm in over my head.
Dude, actually, the last time I went camping, we went to this party in LA and
we're wrapping it up. We're wrapping it up.